For my project, I chose to research Tesla Incorporated. Tesla Motors was founded in 2003 to develop luxury electric vehicles, and the company went public in 2010. Tesla's first electric car, the Roadster, was released in 2008. Over the next few years, Tesla continued to manufacture electric cars while also branching out into other various solar energy products. In 2017, Tesla Motors changed their name to Tesla Incorporated. This change helped to signal that Tesla's business is more than just cars. Of their competitors, Tesla is one of the only companies that is focusing exclusively on electric vehicles. Many companies are still producing their gasoline-powered vehicles or hybrid vehicles because executives believe that the demand for electric vehicles is still low due to lack of information, inconvenience, and price restraints. Analysts believe this demand will increase dramatically as charging infrastructure, prices, and battery performance improve. Tesla's original target market for their vehicles were individuals who were looking for luxury electric cars. This included wealthy business executives and entrepreneurs. However, over time they realized that they need to appeal to a larger market share in order to remain competitive. Specifically, Tesla hopes to appeal to younger professionals, typically in their 20s to 40s, who are environmentally conscious and looking for their first luxury car. Customers in this group may not have the financial resources that their older counterparts have. In order to meet these needs, Tesla has developed several models that meet a variety of budgets. The company homepage shows that the Model 3 starts at $36,000, the Model Y starts at $48,000, and Models S and X are almost $90,000. I reformulated the balance sheet and the income statement in order to get a more accurate forecast for my valuation models. Once this was completed, I was able to analyze the related ratios that are shown on this slide. First, I examined the ratios related to margin. Tesla's operating margin for 2018 was negative 2.79%, which is significantly improved from the previous years, but still well below the industry average, which hovers between 8 and 9%. The net profit margin was negative 5.14% in 2018. Overall, the margins are improving over time. However, there's still a huge amount of volatility related to this company. We can see a large dip in margins in 2017. However, revenues have been growing quickly, so we should have expected to see the margins consistently improve. I also looked at the capitalization ratio, which came to 3.08 for 2018. Next, the financial leverage ratio was 191.38. This shows that Tesla is operating with huge amounts of debt in relation to their equity. This could signal financial difficulties for Tesla, but they're still in a high growth phase, so it's not abnormal that they carry large amounts of debt. Finally, I looked at profitability ratios. I found the financing profitability, or the net borrowing cost, to be 5.82%. Finally, the operating profitability was negative 4.24%. This assesses the financial health of a company by evaluating how efficiently they use their assets to generate income. I first valued Tesla using the comparables model. I used the sales, earnings, and book values from BMW, Nissan, and General Motors to value Tesla. This calculated a per-share value of only $10.84. The market currently values Tesla at $254.86. Tesla is still in a high growth phase, which could impact this model. Certain information is not reflected through this model as it only considers sales, earnings, and book value. This could be substantially driving the valuation down. Next, I valued Tesla using the discounted cash flows model. I forecasted the free cash flows for the next 5 years and the continuing value using the percentage on the slide. Tesla's management expects to see huge growth in the next 5 years. However, they have a large amount of cash flows tied up in funding agreements to finance new research, which will drive down free cash flows. I used a discounting factor of 7.6% to discount these values. Once they were discounted, I subtracted the firm's current value of debt. This model resulted in a per-share value of negative $68.31. Tesla is currently operating with a substantially large amount of debt, which is driving the valuation down, as the liability is twice the value of the discounted firm value. Next, I used the residual earnings model to value Tesla. I used the same growth rates for earnings per share that I used in the discounted cash flows model for consistency. I also used the same discounting rate that was used in the discounted cash flows model to calculate the residual earnings, and then I discounted those values by the same percentage. This model yielded a per-share value of $118.64. Then I calculated the no-growth valuation of Tesla. This assumes that all future residual earnings are the same as the current year. This yielded a per-share value of negative $91.25. Since Tesla is currently operating at a loss, it's only expected that the valuation will also be a negative value. Next, I calculated a growth valuation, which predicts earnings by forecasting what the balance sheet components will earn at the current profitability. This model includes the growth of net operating assets. This led to a per-share value of $267.74. This is the only valuation that projects a value that is greater than the market's value. Finally, I calculated a full forecasting valuation of Tesla. This model is arguably the most reliable because it considers many areas of the reformulated financial statements that other models ignore. I had to forecast the ratios for gross margin, selling, general, and administrative expenses, the tax rate, sales growth, and turnover ratios. For the sales growth, I used the same values that I'd used in the other models. Tesla's management expects to see sales growth much larger than this. However, the company is still in a quite volatile growth period. The analysts also expect strong growth with the release of new models in the future, so I used strong growth rates, although slightly more conservative. Once the forecasts were made for the ratios, the pro forma financial statements were generated. This shows that Tesla should experience positive net income by 2020. The balance sheet produced the net operating assets, which was used to calculate the return on net operating assets. In turn, the return on net operating assets was used to find the residual operating income. I calculated the continuing value using the long-term growth rate of 4%. These values were discounted and then summed with the net operating assets from 2018 to arrive at the value of operations. The net financial obligations were then subtracted to arrive at the value of common equity. This yielded a per share value of $130.54. In conclusion, 6 different valuation models were used to value Tesla. 3 of these models generated per share values that were negative, meaning that Tesla will essentially cease to exist in the future. Only one of the models yielded a per share value that is greater than the current market price. Many of these models rely on fairly high growth forecasts, and if the demand for electric vehicles does not increase, Tesla will not be able to make these forecasts and will fall short. Also, the various ratios do not look promising for Tesla. Many of the ratios are improving over time, but there's still a large amount of volatility from year to year. For these reasons, I'm issuing a sell recommendation for Tesla Incorporated.